Hi everyone, I'm Samira, the founder and CEO of Manta Cares, and this is...
I'm Doug Blayney. I'm a medical oncologist. I'm the Chief Medical Officer of Manta Cares, and we're here live from the ASCO 2026 Annual Meeting. It's the largest meeting of clinical and experimental oncologists in the world. This year we had 45,000 attendees, which was a new record. It's here in Chicago. It's been a great meeting.
Dr. Blayney. I'm going to do a quick blurb on AI, and then one of my first questions is going to be, what is happening with AI in oncology? And then what are the 4 themes we're going to cover at our next episode? AI in oncology is huge. We're walking next to the floor. It's everywhere. A lot of it is facing the clinician. A lot of it is about making sure clinicians have access to information and they have access to decision-making tools. ASCO has come up with their own AI use case in the guidelines. Our job at Manta Cares is to do it with the patient. Hope AI has been featured fairly heavily, I would say. We had our own event called the 2 a.m. Patient Experience, really describing how patients and families are using AI for real-world situations like managing treatment, finding support for things like housing and financial toxicity. And we were showing that data to clinicians to really shed light on how real patients are using AI in the real world. We did go to Oncodailies, AI grand rounds that happened, where we had leaders in health systems, community oncology, and pharma talk about how they're using AI. And once again, we saw that the patient is not really truly represented there. And I think that's where we are finding ourselves positioned.
And that's the hole we're trying to fill. And I think we're ahead of the game. Healthcare in general does not use AI. There's studies to show this, does not use AI in the same frequency as other industries like finance and like news gathering and like writing. So healthcare in general is a little behind the AI adoption curve. Similarly, other studies that we heard presented, and again, we're just learning about AI and how to do studies on AI, show that we're not alone. That patients using AI, the answers with which they come up are not credible often. There's a lot of information that's not right, not relevant to their situation, and otherwise is misleading. Similarly, young clinicians and clinicians not so young are also struggling with how AI is going to affect them. Is it going to, the term we're now hearing is de-skilling or de-skilling. In other words, things they'll never learn how to do because AI makes it so easy. But if the internet goes down or they're practicing someplace or it's an emergency and they need AI, they need knowledge right then and there, de-skilling may prevent them. So this field and patients and family members are also not struggling, but trying to cope with ways to come up with dealing with what we all think is going to have a major impact on life going forward. And I happen to believe it's going to be a positive impact on what we do going forward.
So we're going to cover AI, of course. But outside of AI, we've had some exciting news from the clinical side. Can you just give them a preview as to what we're going to dive into at our next episode?
Thank you. Samira, most people will have heard about the pancreas cancer study of a new drug that targeted RAS. Now, for the last 15 or 20 years, we've had targeted therapy, but RAS or KRAS is a gene that has been very resistant to targeted therapy. KRAS is turned on or mutated on in about 90% of pancreas cancer cases. And yesterday we heard about a new treatment that doubled survival in second-line pancreas cancer therapy. So we'll talk a little bit more about that. There were 2 studies in lung cancer, one of them showing it in ALK mutated lung cancer that survival at 7 years, the progression-free survival the median had not been reached at 7 years. And this is almost unprecedented. There was another study in lung cancer looking at squamous cell lung cancer treated with an agent that is a PD-L1 and anti-VEGF drug. There are some peculiarities of that study, which I think are germane to breast cancer and other cancers for which biomarkers are important. And finally, we'll talk about SERDs, or selective estrogen receptor degraders. They're like fulvestrant. Many of you know that fulvestrant is a drug that's used in estrogen or hormone-sensitive breast cancer, but it's uncomfortable. That has to be given repeatedly by intramuscular injection, so it's not a pleasant drug to use. There are two, receive. There are two selective estrogen receptor degenerators or degraders that are oral, which is going to be much more convenient for patients. There's some nuances that we'll discuss along with what's called ESR1 mutation. Again, ESR1 is a biomarker that's used in breast cancer and influences if this drug, a SERD, is the right drug for you. So I'm looking forward to our next session, and our schedule is tight here because it's been a very exciting meeting. We'll get more down the road.
All right, guys, see you next episode.
This podcast, show notes, and newsletter is for general informational purposes only and does not constitute the practice of medicine, nursing, or other professional healthcare services, including the giving of medical advice, and no doctor-patient relationship is formed. The use of information on this podcast or any materials linked from this blog is at the user's own risk. The opinions of the speakers are their own and do not represent the opinions of organizations they're affiliated with, nor do they reflect the opinions of Manta Cares Inc. or Manta Cares' sponsors.